The one tip that I have for everybody is everyone stands in front of whatever they're taking and takes the picture straight on.
Right.
My advice is go up, lay on the ground, take it from the side, go from the other side, try to change your angle.
Welcome to Rochester Business Connections, powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC, where I get the chance to chat with Rochester, New York's very best business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. I am your host, Ben Albert. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, we don't do advertisements. My fee for this show is simple. If you gain value from the episode, personally share with a friend and explain your favorite part. Let's get started.
Welcome everyone to Rochester Business Connections. I am here with Jess Kamens. Jess, how we doing today? I'm happy to have you.
I'm great. Thanks for having me here. That's great, Ben.
Jess is a photographer. She's incredible at what she does. And photography is incredibly important because you capture the moment and make, things look beautiful. I can see the frames behind you just right now. And it's incredible the way that a great photo can make a room come alive, make a business come alive, and serve as a great gift. So I love what you do. I looked at your website. It's great work. But let's give, a 1,000-foot view of what exactly you do for your clients, what kind of photography you're into, and how you serve the Rochester community.
Sure, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, I've loved sitting amongst some of this artwork because it's really nice just to be around, and it does brighten up a room for sure. And I think that is the base of my business is really what is that portrait that we're looking for, and portrait artists are generally looking for that piece to go up on the wall. My families come to me and they say, we really need a new family portrait over our fireplace, or we just moved into a new home and we've got a ton of blank walls. We need pictures of the kids. We want pictures of our family. Because when children and even older children see themselves on the wall, they have that sense of belonging in the family, and it really is comforting to them. I see that with my own daughter and her looking at her own portrait on the wall. So really working with families to get that perfect portrait. And it's not, call you up and okay, Julie, meet me out at Highland Park for 20 minutes and I have 10 sessions that day. And it's really very customized. I work with one family every about 10 days, and we have a portrait planning meeting. We plan out what we're going to wear, where we're going to shoot, how we're going to shoot. I meet the adults. That's a very important piece of this because kids I got in 2 seconds, but adults, we come with our reservations, So
Yeah.
I meet all the adults. We talk about what everyone's looking for. We get to know each other a little bit because I do feel that's very important. I need to know my clients. They need to know me. Then we shoot, and then they come back in and we plan their wall. I have an amazing program that superimposes the images with the frames just like this up onto the wall so that they can see in real size. Then their artwork is handmade and it's then delivered to them. I've been doing deliveries all week. Usually I'm installing up onto the wall for them, but with COVID, I'm not going into the home. So I'm delivering outside, and I have a few images I'm going to post this week of some of my outside deliveries, which are really fun. And that's kind of the basis of the family portraits. The weddings are very similar. I spend a lot of time with my clients over a year at least, doing their engagement session, planning their save the date cards, and planning their portrait session for their wedding. And I really do get to know them over the course of that time. And my business clients also, we have usually long ongoing contracts where I'm getting to know the business and what content they need to be put out to be able to further and grow their own business. And it's all very rewarding. It's very similar, but what I like about the three different entities is they're completely different. I could work for a landscape company one day, a makeup artist another day, a family another day, a wedding another day, some food photography another day, structural architectural photography another day. It's really great. So I like to sort of keep things rounded.
Yeah, that's fun. And it is really great. As we all know, we all have what was once, world class quality photography coming out of our cell phones. So we have the ability to take decent photos right from our phone. And
Yeah.
that's why it sounds like if someone really wants someone who's going to direct the atmosphere, someone who can do the editing, make it perfect, and create an entire experience, that's something that I think we almost forget about walking around with our phone in our pocket all day. So you do a very high end service where it's going to come out just tremendous, and you'll spend an entire week on the building and creating of ultimately the timeline to make it work, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, and it can be even longer that I work with families. I took pictures of a family the very end of August, and the whole process with COVID was delayed a little bit, but the artwork takes 10 to 12 weeks to make, and I just delivered it 2 days ago. And I have been working with this family the whole time, and they're so amazing. And I just really feel I get to know people a lot more than just click, 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 here are your images and nice to meet you sort of thing. But I get to really know them, and then they come back a couple of years later. I'm not generally a yearly service. And like you said, it is the quality of the service that really brings me joy. It's, that full service from start to finish. You don't have to worry about everything. I've got it all covered. And I really, I really like doing that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photo behind you. It's, beautiful winter day. We're about to move into the winter months officially now.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, because I'm the kind of guy that wakes up and checks my phone to see what the weather is and then decides what I'm going to wear basically that morning. I don't do any planning there. Are you like a weather junkie watching the forecast so you know the best day to run a shoot? Tell me how that works. What time
Yeah.
of year, different things, obviously different times of year offer different opportunities, right?
Yeah, and we are moving into the snow sessions right now. I had one yesterday. So I am an absolute weather addict. I have this great app that my parents, who are also golfers, use called Rain Aware, and it really is so specific, and we just know it just is, it's spot on. But the way I work, usually in the fall for my fall sessions, there isn't too much interruption. Sometimes towards the end of the fall, we can get a lot of cancellations for rain, but I try to do it in the early part of fall. When there's a rain delay, we already have a rain date set up because if I don't do that, I get off and then I'm doubling and tripling in a week, and that wouldn't work so well. So I am watching and watching the weather. But when it comes to my snow sessions, what I do is, and I already have several booked already, I have a little bank, and their names and their emails and their telephone numbers sit right next to my computer. And when a storm is about to come in, I go one by one in order, so we know I know what their preferences are. Some of them want a fresh snow, some of them want heavy snow for snow building. It all depends. Sometimes we're shooting like this where we need the snow on the trees. Sometimes we're doing other things in the woods and we just want a little bit of snow. So I know all their preferences, so I call them right away and I say, okay, we have a storm coming in. We already have the outfits planned. We did that a long time ago. And they're just waiting, they're sitting. And my clients will either say, nah, I don't think this weekend's going to feel very good. Let's wait till the next snowstorm. And some clients say, yeah, let's go for it. And we did one yesterday. An hour before our session, the rain came and kind of took a lot of the snow right off the trees, but there was still a lot left. But it does happen that way. But I am an absolute weather junkie this time of year specifically because the fresh snow like this, up like the picture you're looking
Yeah.
at, just laying on the trees and nice and fluffy and a little bit on the warm side is really nice. So,
Yeah, it's incredible.
yeah.
Were you always a, visual artist, a photographer ever since you were a kid, or what got you
Yeah.
started in the industry?
I have a great photograph actually on my website and on my
Okay.
about page. You can see pictures of me when I was 2 and 3 with a Polaroid in front of me. So I
Mhm.
definitely have been taking pictures. My father and my mother both took photographs. My father, before I was born, built my mother a dark room in the basement. So this has always kind of been in my family. I vividly remember a portrait my father ended up giving me of a young boy that he had hanging up, and an Ansel Adams that he had hanging in his house. And I've always been on the artsy side. I was a dancer in my younger years. I moved into visual arts right in high school and right through college, and then went into art education. Interdisciplinary arts for children was my major in my undergrad, and then into art education. And then I taught for 17 years. So I was in public schools. I taught in Fairport for many years,
Hmm.
and then lived abroad for 10 years and taught abroad as well. So I've always had that artistic side. And I think one thing that really the industry has evolved. The photography industry, portrait industry went from 35 millimeter, where people were shooting very, very specific and really planning things out because they had a roll of film to use, right? Or to,
Yeah.
and really, and then people would look at the proofs and decide what they wanted in print. And that was the process. It was, you would look at the proofs and then you would get the prints. There were no digitals. And then we moved into this digital era and the printing fell away, and it fell away really fast. And then there was a movement of photographers who wanted to keep that, and they really built a whole industry around the print side of photography, and that is the base of my business as well. And it's something that I didn't do in the beginning. I mean, I've been shooting for 13 or 14 years, and I didn't do that in the beginning. And over the last 4 or 5 years, really implemented it, and it brings the whole process to a close. When I delivered 3 portraits the other day, and then we sat on Zoom for an hour and a half and installed them together. And
Mm.
we stood back and we looked at it, and that was it. It was done. And we started that process in August. So it's a real gift to be able to see these images go onto people's walls in their home, where their kids can walk by and smile, or they can walk by. It's not always kids involved. I had a year and a half ago, we did a whole wedding wall, and they in their entertainment room, and it's gorgeous. So it's for people really to just look and enjoy that. You can't always go to your phone and find the pictures to look at. So, yeah.
I I'll admit the pictures on my phone, I trash them all the time. Like I delete them or I change phones, they don't transfer. It never is near and dear to my heart, the photos that land on the phone. It's the photos that land on the wall or in a photo album that,
Mhm.
I'll have for the rest of my life, really. Um,
Yeah.
you said a lot of things. You're an educator here in Fairport schools, and you went abroad. I want to talk about Rochester in a moment, but you said you were an educator and photographer abroad for 10 years. Where
Nearly
did you
10 years.
go? Where'd you travel to?
Yeah. So I lived on and off in Ireland in the beginning, studying music. I've had a passion for Irish music. I play that
Hmm.
as well. And I lived there in the beginning, and I lived on a farm, woofing. I don't know if you know, willing workers
Yeah.
on organic
Yep.
farms. So you work in exchange for your stay, and it was
That's
an
great.
amazing experience in a tiny town in Northern Ireland. And then I headed to Australia and New Zealand and stayed there for almost a year, working and picking grapes on farms at 6 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold, and living in a
Right.
van and kind of just doing the nomadic stuff around New Zealand. Then I went to Australia and worked a little bit for IKEA, doing a photographic job for them. And that paid for a lot of my travels through Australia. And then I went up to Thailand and stayed there for almost a year, teaching in the schools there. And I was doing my photography along the way, travel photography mainly. And
Right.
if you go on my website, you can see, if you click under the travel section, you can see a lot of that, some of it, some of my favorite images. And then I settled in Slovakia for 2 years and taught at a school across the street. I would get up in the morning and walk over, and I taught informatics, which was basically computer science, kind of not the heavy computer science, but basic computers usage, because the kids in the high school needed that. It was a bilingual school. It was really wonderful, and I ended up working the photography into that a little bit, and that's when I started teaching photography. So that was back in 2011, 2012, and I was teaching privately, and then due to the limitations for visas in Slovakia, I couldn't do my own work or freelance or play music in that country. So I moved to Berlin, and that's when I was freelancing photography, playing music in a band, learning German, and experiencing art there, and just doing a lot of teaching there. And then I came back 4 years ago.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I almost feel like when someone hires to work with you, you bring so much just understanding and experience from your travels to the table. How long ago did the 10-year journey start?
I left in 2008, 2009. Wait, okay. So it's 2020. I've been back for 4 years. Was
Hmm.
gone for 10. I think I left in 2007, end of
Uh,
2007, 2008.
if you could pick one place to return to just to take photographs, the most beautiful place you've been,
Oh,
could you choose?
or places I haven't been yet. I
Yeah.
want to go. I want to go to Iceland. Iceland's been
Mm,
top on my list. Ireland is my heart home.
hmm.
So I have
Right.
a huge connection. My closest friends are there. I have a connection with the music and the culture. And it is beautifully stunning to take photographs there. So anytime we can, I travel there. Um, there's just so many beautiful countries. I don't know. When anyone asks me where I'm going next, it's always Ireland. So that's just going to be my answer for everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you play? Do you sing? Do you play?
I play Irish tin whistle and baran and a little bit of banjo. I don't sing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can we see you? Obviously, everything's locked down at this moment, but
Yeah.
can we see you playing live around Rochester? I'm a big music guy, so I'm always curious
Yeah.
about that stuff.
Well, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. My daughter also is playing fiddle, so she's learning as well. So we play a lot here
Hmm.
in our house together. There is a wonderful Irish session, kind of a beginner's session, the last Sunday of the month at Johnny's Irish Pub. So that will be back hopefully in the future. It's hard to say where things will be now.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's great. There's lots of wonderful musicians in our city, and yeah,
No, there's an incredible amount of musicians in our city. And for
yeah,
anyone who doesn't know, I also have a music podcast. It's called Rochester Groovecast, and it's all about local music and culture. And this year's been a struggle. I mean, I've learned so much just on how to pivot as a creative and how to adapt to changing times. But for musicians and many people, musicians as a particular group of people, oh my gosh, they can't play live shows. So you really got to stay passionate at home and stay engaged in what you love, right?
yeah. And I attended. I'd love to say this. I
Sure.
attended a concert last Thursday.
Awesome.
Rising Appalachia is an I don't know if you know them,
They're
but
like the two-piece.
there. Well, there's more. There's I think
They
about
bring a
six.
whole band with them, yeah, but it's the two gals
The
that.
two girls. Absolutely incredible live concert the other
Mm.
night, and it's available for play until January 1st. It was so soul uplifting and just the most, yeah, it was, I highly recommend for anyone. We watched it twice, second time dancing in the living room, just, it was very special. So there's a lot of ways that people can do this and bring music to others and make a living. And, pivoting is key for sure. I've had to do a lot of pivoting as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Obviously, there aren't many weddings going on, and the
No.
weddings that are happening are definitely not at full capacity.
Yeah.
Are you still doing wedding photography? Did you take a shot by not being able to do weddings? How has the year went for you?
So I am fortunate in one aspect in that my business is not just wedding photography. So I it's probably equal thirds between the business, the family, and the wedding. So
Mm.
I didn't take as big of a hit as a lot of my colleagues who shoot 25 weddings a year. That is devastating for a business. I shoot 6 to 8 per year, and that's a really nice balance because I'm not shooting every weekend and I can intersperse it with families and with business
Yeah.
stuff. So it's really nice. Most of mine were moved to next year. A couple of them kept and did micro weddings this year. We did them from a distance and it was really special. I have to say, they were really special. One of them was on a goat farm, and you can see that on my blog. But it was just, I delivered their album last night, actually. They were looking at it in front of me. It was really nice. I'll put some pictures up of that. But just really special, kind of intimate. I think people are getting back to their, and even the ones who I am shooting next year, who are planning right now, they're smaller. They're thinking in terms of what if we have to cut this down? What if it can't be the way we wanted? And so people are kind of rethinking their way. But yeah, pivoting is key. I think for me, the biggest way I've had to pivot is that when we're planning artwork, we're not sitting in my studio office in front of the actual artwork, holding it and looking
Mm.
at it. So I have to do a lot of dropping off. I drop off a lot of things to my clients to look at and hold while we're on our Zoom meetings, so they can have the frame samples, so they can touch the frames and hold them up to their screen. And there's
Mhm.
a lot of pivoting in that way. A lot of errand running, a lot of back and forth, and my assistant has helped out a lot with that. But it's pivoting. We have to do it. So
Yeah.
refocusing my camera.
So pivoting is huge,
Yeah.
and wow. So you've mentioned all these photos and all these travel photos, and
Yeah.
where do I find them? On the website, on the Instagram?
Yeah, on my website, both. I haven't put too many travel photographs up on my Instagram lately, but now you just said that, and I'm just going to. I'm just going to go start talking about my travels because I really miss them. If you go on my website, there's a link at the top that says travel.life. And in there, you can find a little series that I did, actually the quarantine documentary as well, and my travel photography. So a lot of it is in there. The one thing that it's missing, it has a little bit of it, are the stories behind the photographs. I love to tell a story with the photograph. So the stories
Mm.
are there, they're brief. And I did a show at Image City Gallery. I think it was probably 2011 or 12, and I had some of my travel photography up there. And I was actually out of the country when the show happened, so I attended virtually. But I was able to have larger stories with each photograph.
Yeah. What else? See, I wish I could talk to you forever, because more and more opportunities for good conversation are coming up. You just mentioned a documentary.
Yes.
What's the short version on it? There's a
The short version.
documentary about you? Like, what's up?
No,
Where can we see it?
I did a documentary on people in front of their homes at the beginning of quarantine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think along with myself and a bazillion other creatives, when you are quickly faced with a dilemma, and the dilemma was, oh, we can't run our business. So what are we going to do? It was the first moment where I felt like I could actually give to people. I'm not somebody, I don't come from an affluent home. Never had a lot of spare money. I'm a single mom. This is, money isn't something that I've always been able to give to charity. I do a lot of donations to fundraisers locally for galas, which is nice for me to be able to do. But it was the first moment where I felt like, what can I give? And in the middle of the night, I just thought, that's it. I can just take pictures of people where they are, stay in my car, be
Yeah.
safe, keep
Yeah.
distance. And I just started doing it. And as soon as it caught traction, I had 700 applications for me to come to people's homes. And I took
Wow.
400 portraits. And I
Wow.
am compiling it right now and writing stories because I remember even this family that I dropped their wall portraits off the other day. Out came a neighbor from the other side, and she said, "Oh, you're the one who took our portrait." And I said, "You were the one who had the sign that said blah, blah, blah." I remember every single one of those 400 portraits. I can't always link the name with the portrait, but
Right.
I
Sure.
definitely remember every single one in every single scenario. My daughter was with me for every single one. It was a really important connection because at that time, and it seems like so long ago, but at
Yeah.
that time, we didn't know how long we were going to be in quarantine. It was all very new and scary to us. People were going through a range of emotions,
Hmm.
and the excitement of me showing up to the house for 1 minute, it was only 1 minute for each house, was so amazing for these families. And a lot of them have them hanging up in their home. It was just fantastic. So I am writing a book, and I've just received a grant that will help me do that. So I hope that that book will be put out in the next couple months. I'm hoping. So I
I'm
put the pictures.
excited for you.
Me too.
I'm
Me
excited, Jess, and
too.
what you just said, I kind of want to put an exclamation point on that. That one little gesture that might only take a few minutes to an hour out of your day can completely uplift someone. So there's a lot of people that are afraid to leave home, or even if they just leave here and then. I mean, it's hard to take walks with the weather, so maybe they aren't going to take as many walks. There, it's a bad situation. So
Yeah,
whatever we can do to drop something off at a loved one's, go take their photographs, send them an extra email or an extra phone call this
for
month.
sure.
I think those little things can really uplift the community. And the fact you had 700 applicants is a testament that people are in need of that social reinforcement right now. So I think it's a good thing you're doing here.
There's a really wonderful book, children's book called Ordinary Mary's Extraordinary Deed. And it's how one little girl
Mm,
did one nice thing for someone, and they did something nice for five more people, and five more people, and five more people, and how it spread throughout the world in just, I think they said 26 days. Everyone could do something nice for everyone. It's a great book. I do know that Hippocampo Children's Bookstore on South Ave has it in stock because she always has it in stock because it's my favorite book. But yeah, paying it forward is just, yeah, it's
it's
good.
huge. It's huge. There's We could dive so deep, Jess. For sake of time, we're going to move into the rapid fire round.
Go ahead.
Very short, easy questions, just to learn a little bit more about you.
Sure.
Preferences: coffee or tea?
Tea,
Beer or wine?
beer,
Cats or dogs?
dogs. Achoo on the cats.
Do you do you have a favorite season to take
Winter.
photographs? Winter.
Winter's my favorite season in general for everything. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Favorite winter activity?
Skiing. I haven't done it in a while, but it would definitely be skiing.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. What else? Favorite book or recommendations? You just gave us one. Do you have one or two more?
I'm really addicted to children's books at the moment. I kind of am addicted is an understatement. I've been collecting children's books for many years.
Mm,
So I'm going to throw out another children's book, Because Amelia Smiled. And it's a very similar kind of thought process. Amelia smiled and someone saw her, and because she saw her, she did something else for someone that did something else for someone. So I like those books. I like really mindful children's books. I actually am going to start a blog on children's books. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I am going to start it because there's some incredible ones out there. The last adult book I read, I can't recommend, but yeah, it's been a long time since I've picked up one for myself.
You're like me. You're always doing more and more different activities. Do you ever overwhelm yourself with all
Oh,
the
yeah,
things you want to
all
get
the
done?
time, all the time, all the time.
Uh, Thanks again, Jess. We already
Thank
touched
you.
on this, but where do people keep in touch? Are you active on LinkedIn, Instagram, the website, the email? What should be my first step to follow you or maybe give you an email or a call?
Yeah, so my website, jessrk.com, JESSRK, easy to remember. You can find links there to my Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm mostly focused on my Instagram at the moment and my newsletter. So if you go to the website, there'll be a little pop-up and you can just enter your email to sign up to my newsletter. I'm not overwhelming with my newsletters. It usually just tells you kind of what I'm up to and what I might be offering at the moment. I am doing monthly kind of contest sort of things at the
Mm.
moment, which are really fun. Is kind of tell me this story, and I choose one and do some nice things for that person. Again, trying to give forward because since the pandemic, people have been very kind to me and helped my business and patronized my business. So I'm trying to give forward as much as possible. Definitely Instagram or my website for sure.
I love it, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
One final question, because I know you're full of good tips. We didn't get into all the great tips today.
It's okay.
Again, everybody has a beautiful, camera on their phone,
Yeah.
and I'm curious that let's say I don't have a fancy camera, I don't know how to do editing, but I cherish my phone and I want to take good pictures this season to have printed and have framed. Any tips to, at home photography, anything that I can do to make my at home photos look professional?
They won't look professional, but they could look
Right.
better. I actually am teaching a lot right now. So I teach online. I teach DSLR photography mainly, but I do have a couple students I'm working with on their phones. The one tip that I have for everybody is everyone stands in front of whatever they're taking and takes the picture straight on.
Right.
My advice is go up, lay on the ground, take it from the side, go from the other side, try to change your angle. There are a lot more tips I can give in my workshops, of course. Workshops can also be found on my website. But that's the biggest one. I think everybody tends to take pictures like this,
Hmm.
just straight on. So, and myself included sometimes if I'm not thinking or I just want to capture a moment.
So
So take
your
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 angle.
your angle doesn't have to be predetermined based on your height. You can choose
Correct.
any angle you'd like.
I am very height deficient, so absolutely change it. Climb up on things, crawl under things, shoot through things. I do a lot of that in my workshops, is how to make your photos look interesting. So,
Thanks again, Jess, for the time today. It's been fun.
thank you, Ben. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Rochester Business Connections. Don't forget to share this, rate, and comment on your favorite platform. You can also email me, ben@valbertmarketing.com. Let's connect soon. Until then, keep thriving, everyone.